Hey guys, alright, as I promised last time, I'm going to be doing a quick little, or hopefully it's going to be quick, a rant about this book right here. This book that I hated so much that I read in April. So this, of course, is The Wrong Groom by Magnolia Maggie Rivers. First of all, I already hate her name. This is terrible. I already dislike her name. But yeah, I read this book. It didn't take long. It wasn't like a long read. It's only like 175 pages or so. And I wanted to quit so many times, but I also wanted to finish it just so that I could mark it off the list. I really didn't want to have to DNF a book. And yeah, I knew that it was really short, so I could get through it really quickly, so it wasn't going to be that big of a waste of my time. Although, yeah, it definitely was a waste of my time. Did not like this book. I'm just going to go over the book, the plot, the characters, all of that stuff, and why I hated it. So, let's begin. I wrote down some notes about this. The first one is, I don't know how much I paid for this book. Probably like $1. Was not worth it. Let's start off with the dialogue. I hated the dialogue in this book. Triplets? Asked Gertie. Well, just slap my knee and call me a corn pone. I haven't heard that saying since I was down in Alabama, she said. Lord, honey, that's where I'm from, Tuscaloosa, said Gertie. This makes me not want to be from Alabama. It takes place in Iowa, but there are so many people in this book that speak in Southern phrases. I'm from the South. I know these phrases. And I'm like, why? Why are you talking like this? You're not Southern. I get that the author is Southern, is from Alabama, but it's not in the South. It's not set in the South. I hate these characters. Missy, the main character, is really annoying, first of all. She's not like other girls because she likes cars and she likes fixing cars and she wants to be a race car driver and all of that stuff. Her friends, she has these friends who show up for like one scene and you're supposed to care about them, but you don't because you see them once and then you never hear about them again. She has brothers, 3 brothers who show up for like a couple of scenes. You don't really get to know them. The guy that she was supposed to marry, you don't really get to know him. One of his brothers, you don't really get to know him that well either. But when you do get to know him, you find out that he's gay, and he is the most stereotypical gay man that I have ever seen in any kind of media. Every single time that he's in a scene, he giggles. He's just giggling all over the place. It's like, please stop making Ricky giggle. This is not cool. Gay men are not here just to giggle. I'm just gonna spoil the whole book, just so you know. And then at the very end of it, his boyfriend has proposed to him, and so they end up having a double wedding. So it's Missy and Clay and Ricky and his man. I don't know who it is because they never actually, I don't even know if they even give him a name. Oh, okay, his name is Mike. He does have a name. I'm surprised. I'm so surprised. Okay, so this is what she says to Ricky. Ricky, sweetie, you have to have something borrowed and something blue, so this will cover both. This was my mother's bracelet. Goes with the necklace I have on. I want to let you borrow it to wear. Kind of makes us sisters of sort. Why does she make this character like this? I actually like Ricky, though. That's the thing. Ricky's like the only character in the book that I actually kind of like, despite the whole he has to giggle in every scene because he's gay. I don't even think I talked about how terrible Missy is, but I can't even put into words how much I hated her. Then you have Josh, her original fiance, who loves himself so much. That's all you know about him. He's a narcissist. That's basically all you know about him. I guess that's all you need to know. He's really good looking, and he's a narcissist. Then you have Ricky, who is also really good looking, and he's gay. And then you have Clay, who is really good looking, and he's a good race car driver, and he's misogynistic. And that's the 3 brothers. So Clay is the one that she likes, the one that she ends up with at the end of the book. And yeah, like I said, misogynist. He doesn't want women to drive his car, which, I mean, I guess I could kind of see that because I don't like other people driving my car, but it's not a gender thing. But he also will not race if there's a woman racing. If there's a woman in the race, he will drop out of it just so that he will not have to race against a woman. He explains why later, but it is the most bullshit reason that I think I've ever heard. I'll go into it though. I'll explain it. I hate every character except for maybe Ricky. Okay, so let's get into the plot. I'm like all over the place, but there's just so many things that I want to talk about that I hate so much that I'm just all over. I'm like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate that. And yeah, so let's go to the plot. The plot. Okay, here we go. So, I've written stuff down, so I may be reading, but just bear with me. All right, so Missy has been dating Josh for 6 months. 6 months. Keep that in mind. 6 months. He's a self-absorbed news anchor. He decides to fly her out to Las Vegas to propose to her. Just to propose to her. They're not there for any other reason. And he also invites his brothers along. Now, Ricky, she has met before. Ricky, she knows that Ricky is gay. That's basically all you need to know about Ricky, apparently. But she's never met Clay, the other brother. She does not even know that Clay exists because despite the fact that she and Josh have been dating for 6 months, 6 months, and are engaged, she does not know that he is a triplet. She does not know that he has two brothers who look exactly like him. How? 6 months. How could you not know? I don't understand. I don't understand this. Has she never met his family? Has she never like celebrated a holiday with them or anything? Or a birthday or anything? And they're gonna get married. Okay, whatever. So anyway, she's never met Clay. She doesn't realize that Clay exists. She gets onto an elevator with someone that she thinks is Josh. It's actually Clay. She doesn't realize this. He thinks that she's like a groupie because he's a race car driver. And apparently he has a lot of groupies who just throw themselves on him all the time. And so that's what he thinks is happening when she throws herself on him. And they get into some shenanigans in the elevator because the elevator for some reason suddenly breaks down for like 10 minutes or something. So while the elevator's broken down and they do some stuff, so he doesn't know her because he's never met her. She thinks that he's her fiance, and when he kind of acts like he doesn't know her because he doesn't, she thinks, oh, Josh is trying to role play. This is cute. Let's do this. Dumb. So yeah, some hanky-panky happens, even though they're strangers, and the elevator starts working again. They go down to their destination, and the doors open, and there's Josh and Ricky in front of her, and she's like, oh no, what is this? I don't understand. Why are there three of you that look the exact same? I don't get this. They're triplets, you idiot. Anyway, so she gets pissed off because Josh never, I can understand this because Josh never told her that he was part of triplets and that there was another brother that looks exactly like him. So I can understand why she would be mad. She gets so mad that she breaks up with him right there, tells all three of them that she never wants to see them again, walks out of the hotel, and gets in a cab and heads for the airport, like immediately. Okay. Fine. While she's in the cab, she calls the hotel and says, can you like go into my room, pack my bags, send it to this address, whatever. Okay, sure, fine, that's okay. She gives him a big tip. Why does she give him a big tip? Because Josh has left her a credit card. He got a credit card for her just to use for this trip. So she uses the credit card and gives like a $50 tip or something, some like kind of extravagant tip that you wouldn't expect. I didn't even get into this. Okay, so Missy loves cars. Missy loves racing. Missy wants to be a race car driver at some point, but Missy has never been in a race before. She's never raced a car. Of course, she's in the cab. She's talking to the cab driver. She's telling him about how much she loves racing and all of that crap, and how much she loves working on cars and how she wishes she could be a race car driver. And they get into this stupid conversation. They become best friends, basically. He drops her off at the airport. She gives him a $1,000 tip because it's not her money and she's being a bitch. So honestly, if I were Josh and I found that out, I'd be like, you know what? Sorry, someone stole my card. Please cancel any transactions that happened after this time. And then poor Sammy, the cab driver, would get nothing, which is terrible, but still. I really hope that Josh did that, but it doesn't say anything about it. Apparently he pays it all. I would not have done that. Oh yes, that's also where we find out that the cab driver has adopted 16 children. Okay, he does explain that it's like, the oldest one is like 41 or whatever, so it's not like 16 children all at once, but still, that's way too many. There has to be like a law against that or something, right? Anyway, she finds like the cheapest, quickest flight that she can back to Iowa. Iowa? Yeah, I think it's Iowa. Back to Iowa where she's going. And she gets on the plane. She finds a ticket like easily. She finds an empty seat and sits down, and then guess who shows up? It's Clay, the one that she was in the elevator with. He shows up out of nowhere because apparently he's decided that, okay, well, I came here to Las Vegas for one night just to meet my brother's new fiance, but now I'm just gonna go ahead and leave because, I got places to be. So he leaves. He gets on the plane, and it's the same plane that she's on, and sits down right next to her because that's the only open seat available. Of course it is. And she tries to get the flight attendant to make him move, but the flight attendant's like, I don't see a problem with this. He's hot. You should talk to him. So, yeah, it's real dumb. And so she does talk to him. So they talk and they get to know each other a little bit better, and she finds out that he's a race car driver. And she's like, oh my God, I'm a really big fan of race car driving. And she has no idea who he is. How? If she's such a big freaking fan of race car driving, this is like NASCAR stuff, I guess. I don't know. It's not drag race, and I do know that. How does she not know who he is? If she's such a big fan of racing, how does she not know who he is? How has she never seen this guy on television somewhere winning a race? Because apparently he's really good and he wins races all the time. How has she never seen him winning a race and seen him on TV and gone, wow, that guy looks exactly like my boyfriend Josh, and they even have the same last name? Wow, that's so interesting. I wonder if they're related. Why? But no, she's never heard of him. But anyway, to apologize for everything that's happened, he says, I'm racing Saturday. You should come. I've got box seats. I've got like my own little box thing, whatever. It's a whole room separate from everybody. It's going to have free food. It's going to have free booze. Bring some friends. Hang out there because I don't have anybody to be there. So she does. And then he comes up there at some point and he says, wow, there's something wrong with my car and I don't know what it is. And she's like, did you check this thing? And of course, that's exactly what was wrong with it. It was some kind of wire that she knew about. And she's like, I'm so good with cars. I'm like the perfect woman. And I've got big tits. Because, yeah, it talks about that a lot. Eventually, after she's gone to a few of his races, he decides that he's going to let her go to the pit and stay in there with his pit crew while he races. And she does, and she meets them, and she talks to them, and they all fall in love with her because why wouldn't you? She's a beautiful woman, and she likes cars. So yeah, they all fawn over her and everything, and she ends up there for the next race. But that's when something happens. Everything goes wrong. He has appendicitis. Oh no. And so he can't finish the race. So as they pull him out of the car, she's like, you know what? I can do this. I've never been in a race before, but I'm going to jump in this car and I'm going to race. I'm just going to finish it. So I'm just going to finish the race for him so that he'll stay qualified for whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't like NASCAR, so I don't really know that much about it. But yeah, she wants to finish the race for him just so that he will, be still in the running for whatever. So she gets out there and she races and she wins first place. Of course she does, because she's the best. Even though, like I said before, she has never raced a car ever in her whole life. But she's just perfect with cars, apparently. So remember when I said that he doesn't like women to, he doesn't like to race against women, and he doesn't like women to be in his car and stuff like that? Well, he gets pissed off about it because she was in his car. And so he basically breaks up with her, because apparently they've been dating at this point. Breaks up with her and also fires his pit crew because they let her get in his car. But since she's won this race and she thinks she's so good at racing now, she decides that she's going to buy her own race car and she's going to start racing. So she hires the pit crew that he fired and registers for a race. But she registers anonymously or some stupid thing like that. I don't think that's a possibility, but that's what she does. Just so that he won't know that he's racing against a girl. So they race, and she passes him, and that's how he finds out that she's racing against him, is because she passes him and she basically waves at him as she's passing, and he sees her and is like, oh my god, I'm racing a girl, and he gets really pissed off about it, and she beats him, so he gets pissed off about that too. And then he comes to her house and tells her why he does not race against women. And this is one of the dumbest things that I have ever read in my entire life. Okay, so he says, high school days, some of us had a deserted piece of highway we'd drag race on. Trouble was, we were stupid, as a lot of teenagers are. There was another road off that one, a type of service road. It led to a drop-off, and at the bottom of that drop-off was a river. Clay stopped and took a deep breath before continuing. Sometimes, with the rivalry among us, we'd play chicken. We'd race to the drop-off. First one to get there, and be the closest to the edge, of course, won. That sounds very dangerous. It was. We were too stupid to realize there were so many things that could go wrong. And something did? Yeah, something went terribly wrong. Missy held her breath and waited. I was challenged by this girl, Rochelle. She was one of the popular girls among the bad boys, I guess you could say. I'd had a crush on her since the beginning of the school year. She'd transferred here. Family was military. Didn't know much about her other than she was a daredevil. Nothing she wouldn't try. Sounds like a fun girl. She was. Her younger brother, Martin, usually rode in her car with her, but this time his mom had kept him home for some reason. So Rochelle and I got in our cars and started out pedal to the metal. Took about 2 minutes to get to the drop-off. I hit my brakes and slid to within a foot of the drop-off. Oh my gosh, that had to be scary. Not as scary as looking over at Rochelle as she went by, smiling. She never hit the brakes, and I remember hearing her scream, "Dead man wins," as her car took flight. "Oh God," whispered Missy. "That's horrible. And you felt like it was your fault?" Yeah, I could have stopped her. I didn't have to race. There was just something different about her that day. Yeah, we didn't know she'd planned the whole thing that morning. She'd left a note in her school locker explaining, but we didn't find out why she did it for years afterward. After Rochelle's mother died, Martin was going through things, getting ready to sell the house. He came across Rochelle's letter and sent it to me. And it explained? Yeah, Rochelle was pregnant. Seems her father had been molesting her since she was about 5 years old. Oh my gosh! Seriously. I mean, honestly, I'm right there with you, Missy. I guess her mother knew. She'd bathe her and dress her up in whatever the costume was for the night, and then send her in to her dad. How utterly disgusting. This pregnancy was Rochelle's second. Her father apparently sold the first baby, and after that, he got the idea he could make quite a bit of money that way. So his intention was to keep her pregnant and producing kids, his own little baby factory. She just plain couldn't take it anymore and did the only thing she knew she could control. But you had no way of knowing what she intended to do. It wasn't your fault. I know that now. It had to be so hard for you. I've read Rochelle's letter a number of times over the years, and on one hand, I know there was nothing I could have done. But on the other hand, there'll always be that one bit of doubt. That one bit of, is it possible I could have done something? Don't play that game with yourself, Clay. I think she chose you because she knew you were the one guy she could count on to go on with his life. She wanted to end her own life with an exit she would be remembered for, but I think she also didn't want to mess up someone else's life. She believed you were that person. I guess I never looked at it that way. What? Anyway, so yeah, that was why. It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. It makes 0 sense. I don't understand. Why would that make him not... That's not a reason. That's not a reason. That's not a good reason. I don't understand. Anyway, so, yeah. Okay, editing Krista here. I'm trying to finish this video, and I realized that watching it, I'm sitting here thinking I didn't really explain why that bothered me so much. So let me just get back into the mindset and explain it a little better. So it doesn't bother me so much that he feels guilty about someone basically committing suicide and everything right there while racing against him. What bothers me is that he takes that to mean that he can't race against women because it was a woman that did it, not because it was a person. I would think that he would not want to race at all after that because someone died. But no, it's just, I can't race against women. So that's what bothered me so much. Plus the fact that he knows now that it was a suicide. I could understand him maybe years ago not wanting to race against women. I still don't get that, but I mean, I'll give him that just for a minute, because a woman died. But after he finds out it was suicide and he knows it wasn't his fault, that there was nothing he could do, why does he not? Why can't he get over that? I mean, I get it. I kind of get it, but also it doesn't make sense to me because, like I said, he should just not want to race anyone at all because there's the possibility somebody could die and he would feel like it's his fault. But no, it's just women. So that's why I'm so bothered by it. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify that a little bit because I feel like I didn't do a good job of explaining that in the original video. So there we go. Done. Whatever. They make up, they get engaged, and he decides that, you know what, I think I can race against women now. It's fine. And you know what? We're gonna race together as a team. So there we go. That's the book that I hate. Do you see why? It's real bad. So yeah, they get married. They have a double wedding with the gay brother and his man. And that's it. That's the book. I would donate this, but I don't want anyone to have to go through it. I don't want anyone to have to read this. This is probably the only book that I will ever actually throw in the garbage. Ugh. Oh God, ew, ew, ew. The sex scene. I don't even know. The way she writes a sex scene is just, it makes me, I just almost vomited reading it again because it's so bad. It's so bad.